This is Late Night Health. This is the radio program that takes a look at the most important part of your life, your health. Hi, I'm Mark Alyn, and during the next 2 hours, we're going to spend some time looking at various aspects of health as they relate to your life. We're going to be talking about sex. We're going to be talking about skin. We're going to be talking about detoxification, and we'll even be talking about gluten-free pasta. All that and more during the next 2 hours right here on Late Night Health. We invite you to join us, by the way, at latenighthealth.com, latenighthealth.com. Send us a note. You can visit us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Late Night Health. There's all kinds of information there. We hope you enjoy it. In studio today is internationally famous Doug Stephan.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about me.
Well, I was going to talk about you next. We've got Doug Stephan.
Enough about you guys. Let's talk about me.
Yeah, exactly, right. We, of course, are being controlled by my favorite person in radio. I'm sorry, Doug.
No.
You
have another guy who's your favorite? You told me I was your favorite.
I know. I'm
not sure how long I'll stay then under the circumstances.
We have Daryl Wayne, our producer and partner, the insane one, Daryl Wayne. How are you today, Daryl?
Everything's fine.
You're a
the
liar.
Insane Daryl Wayne? Is that what it is? The insane Daryl Wayne, really?
You know.
How have I missed him all these years?
I don't know. I don't know. He is an incredible man, and truly.
And that's what he's been telling us for the past 15, 20 minutes before we went on the air.
That he's the nicest guy in radio.
Absolutely, yeah.
This man that I'm talking to is Doug Stephan. He is the host of Doug Stephan's Good Day. It's on over 350 stations now.
I think the last count is 354.
354.
As of last week.
As of last week.
Does that work? It should be 345 probably. I should have flipped it around. It would sound better if it was 345.
Yeah, it's whatever, but that's incredible. But we're not going to talk about radio with Doug. We're going to talk about his girls. We're going to talk about his cows.
I don't want you to, not too many of my girls. I'm going to keep that.
Yes. How many you've got. Yes, I get that. Actually, Doug owns Eastley Farms in Framingham, Massachusetts.
That's true.
And within the last 2 weeks, with all the snow in the east, one of your barns collapsed, killing 3 cows.
Yes.
And injuring a number more.
Yeah.
That's devastating.
I've been around cows all my life. People laugh about it. There are several threads through my life. Radio is one of them. But I've been around cows longer than I've been on the air, and I've been on the air 50 years. So you can add 10 years to that. That's how many years I've been around cows. The cows are, there's a special spiritual sort of connection, and people sort of chuckle when they hear that, or they look at me strangely, or the eyebrow raises, or whatever it is that people, when they hear that. I don't know that I could tap into whether I was an Indian in one of my past lives or whatever it is, but the cows are sacred to me. And one of the reasons I think is because as a kid growing up, I needed a place to go, and the cows and the dairy farms that were in my neighborhood were the place for me to go.
But you actually went to this place that you now own.
I worked on it when I was a kid. I've owned 3 farms in Framingham, lived there all my life. I live across the street from the house where I grew up. And so there's that farm, and then there's a farm around the corner where these cows were. This is the operation has 2. Well, it has 3 farms actually, but 2 of them are in Framingham. One of them is where we actually milk the cows, about 100 cows there. I have the home farm where I raise the calves. The bred heifers are there. They calf. We raise the calves there. About 100 cows there most of the time. And then there's another facility about 40 miles up the road where I keep another 100 cows.
You own 300 cows?
Yes.
Why?
Do you know there's an expression that goes with boats? There's a definition. The boat is a hole in the water into which one pours money. Well, a farm, especially in Massachusetts, in a suburban area where the land is worth $250,000 to $300,000 an acre, is a hole in the ground into which one pours money.
A big black hole.
It's actually a big red hole.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe in the. I wish it were in the black, frankly. But my dream when I first bought this place was to save it. A developer had bought it, been in the same family for about 145 years, and then fell into the hands of a guy who broke up. Originally, the farm was 465 acres. He sold off a piece to the state, and he developed some more of it. So by the time he was done, there were 115 acres left on this particular parcel. It still is the largest. I'm the largest private landowner in the community. And in this community, most people, I think about Framingham now, it's the headquarters of Staples, TJ Maxx, the Bose Corporation, and a half a dozen other really sort of industrial-type commercial enterprises. And we always think of Route 9 in Framingham Shoppers, where it was the first mall in the country. The Golden Mile was the most valuable piece of real estate, commercial real estate in the country for a long time. So when people think Framingham, they think of that. They don't think
of
that
cows.
There's a dairy farm, especially since there are no cows within 45 miles in any direction. So what is there about this farm in this community that was worth saving? And that's kind of where I come into this piece of land.
One of the things we talked about a few weeks ago, and I strongly believe that we need more small family-style farms, and that the big agri-farms are counterproductive and probably not as healthy as what we would really like.
Well, I'm sure you focus on this a lot on this program. The locavore movement has, in the last 4 or 5 years especially, really gained momentum. What that is an emphasis not necessarily on organic, but more local. People, if you look at the survey, especially in the last year or so, because the government has bastardized and basically ruined the meaning and the value of the term organic. So now people realizing that understand that if they can get to produce that is locally grown, better for their immune system. I mean, you can use the example of honey if you want to. I'm sure you've talked about this.
We've talked about it for local honey for allergies.
Exactly. But all the foods that you can put in your body that are from a nearby, is proximitous to where you live and work as you can find it, affects your gut, the immune system, all of those things to the positive. And people are realizing that. They're rejecting, the country has sort of been divided, Mark, into two in many different ways. The rich and the poor, the healthy and the not so healthy. And we have this obesity epidemic. And if you look at the numbers today, I just did something on the air this morning. I think it was 41% of those who are over the age of 21 are considered obese. And then you look
that's what, 75 pounds
overweight.
Overweight. It's
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Our guest is Doug Stephan. He is the host of Doug Stephan's
And if you don't look out because I'm a radio guy, I take over. So I ask for your excuse. Please forgive me at the beginning.
You've been doing this even longer than I have.
I have been doing this
and I have been doing this longer than God.
I guess that makes me God then.
That's what it does.
Or am I a radio God?
We are a radio God. That's it. I love that. We're talking about dairy farming. I want to talk more in our next segment and throughout the day because you're hanging around with us. You'll be talking to all of our guests with us, taking over. I can relax. It's good. I like this.
Don't let me take over.
Organic farming, I think, is very important. I think local farming is very important. I want to continue with that in just a couple of moments. I want you to know that even though we're talking about dairy now, and organic dairy in particular, that in the next week we're going to be taking a look at non-dairy products like almond milk and organic ice creams that are made locally here in Ventura County, California, where Late Night Health is based. And Daryl and I are going to do some on-camera, on-air tasting next week with a variety of products from a local non-dairy dairy.
Really?
Yeah, that should be a lot.
I'm an ice cream expert. You should have invited me for that.
You're around. Come on over. That'll be great. Doug, organic. You just mentioned that the government has bastardized the term. I don't even know what organic means anymore.
Neither does anybody else. That's why it has no value.
I mean, is it worth paying 3 times for an organic carrot?
No, not anymore. It isn't. One of the things that's happened because of the influence of Big Ag, you were talking about them before, everybody wanted to get in. When you look at the success, the local success of organic, and then all the big, and I use milk as an example because it's what I know best. There's one family, the Suiza family in Texas, that controls Dean Foods.
Right, big family.
Coincidentally, I mention this only because it's a coincidence. It happened that when George Bush ran for the governorship in Texas, the Suiza family raised about $400,000 for cash contributions to his campaign. And just a coincidence, about 6-7 months after he became governor, the Sweezer family was able to, through legislation, change the rules of the laws in Texas so they could control most of the fluid milk supply in Texas. Now, when George Bush became president, just a coincidence, the Sweezer family raised about $4 million in campaign contributions, and within a year after the Bush administration got started, all of the well, not all, about 75% of the fluid milk supply fell into the hands of it's called Dean Foods, but it's the Sweezer family. And so
they make coleslaw and potato salad too, by the way.
Do they?
Yes,
I'm not surprised. But at any rate, it was only a coincidence, but it's happened now.
Of course.
And that's the kind of stuff. So when they saw the interest in organic, they had to get into it. So they buy their way into these farms, and then they change the basic consistency and constituency when it comes to organic farms and organic milk. So what you have is not the quality that the original source of the organic milk was.
Our guest is Doug Stephan from, I'm not going to say Doug Stephan's Good Day. I'm going to say from Eastleigh Farm in Framingham, Massachusetts. We'll talk a little bit more about his cows and organic as we continue. During our next segment, in about, 15, 20 minutes from now, we'll be talking about sex and male sexuality and how to do it with natural supplements. That'll be happening with Josh Lane, our regular contributor, here on Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. Join us at LateNightHealth.com, LateNightHealth.com.